doubt bringing home a new pet is one of the most memorable and I think life-changing experiences, certainly that I've gone through. But looking after your dog or your cat takes some serious hard work and, yes, commitment. This morning, Royal Canin's resident veterinarian, Dr. Debbie Bain, joins us again in our Pet Health series to help us all become awesome and, yes, responsible pet owners. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's worth thinking about this before you get a pet. And often adopting pets, you kind of have to go through this process. You almost have to be validated before you can do it, which is a good thing. It should almost be the case with any pet. When we do bring a furry friend home, what should we be considering when it comes to their care?
Well, I think the first thing that you need to remember before bringing your pet home is that it's a lifelong commitment. Pets should never be an impulse purchase. And it's something that there is a lot of consideration that needs to go into it. So all of our animals have 5 rights and 5 freedoms, and it's the freedom from thirst and hunger. They should have the freedom from fear, freedom from pain and injury, the freedom to express normal behavior, and freedom from discomfort. So this is actual law that our animals have these 5 freedoms. But when you are considering getting an animal, the first thing you really need to think about is what pet, to start off with, is best for this family, for your situation. Yeah. 100%. So, do you have kids? Do you have other animals? Are you in an apartment? Are you on a plot? What's your situation? So let's say, for example, and the same would be for cats as it is for dogs, but let's say you decide, no, definitely a dog person, I want to get a dog. Now, maybe your whole life you've thought, I would want to get a border collie. And great dogs, very high energy. They're working dogs. They are bred to work.
To be worked.
They have to be worked. Otherwise, they get bored, and with bored becomes behavioural issues, unfortunately. You've also got to take into account that they're long-haired. They're going to require grooming. There's other factors to consider here. So if you are in a tiny apartment, maybe a border collie is not the right answer. Yeah.
And be honest with yourself, because the repercussions of making the wrong choice potentially could be heartbreaking. And we see that all the time, hence why so many animals get abandoned, because that hasn't been thought of. One area that's a little bit grey for me, surprisingly after years of having pets, is vaccinations. How do I know what, when, how do we approach that?
Your puppies and kittens, they obviously have very immature immune systems. Puppies and kittens actually don't receive a huge amount of antibodies from their mom while they're in utero. That's just because the gestation period is exceptionally short.
So much shorter.
So a lot is dependent on the colostrum that they actually get from their mom in the first 24 hours. So that being said, they have immature immune systems, and we need to protect them as much as we can. So that's why we actually vaccinate puppies and kittens from 6 to 8 weeks of age, because it's at that point that the maternal antibodies actually start to wane and dwindle off. So we want to vaccinate them, and ultimately we don't know where they're sitting with regards to their antibodies. So we vaccinate them 3 times in order to catch them so that we can build up the strongest immune system that we can. So puppies and kittens need a set of 3 vaccinations. Your veterinarian will guide you according to the protocol. It's normally starting between 6 to 8 weeks, and it's every 3 to 4 weeks, the last one ending anything between 12 to 16 weeks. Okay. And they get their basic vaccinations in those. After 3 months, we start introducing the rabies vaccination. The rabies vaccinations is exceptionally important. We know that there's been issues, can be transferred obviously from animals to human beings. So rabies is exceptionally important. But once they've finished with their puppy vaccinations, then they need annual vaccinations. So it's just once a year that ultimately we need to keep up with. And remember, it's very important to keep up with them because ultimately then they go to the vet, they get their annual checkups from the vet as well. But if you ever want to travel even overseas or interprovincially, you actually always need to be carrying their vaccination card and making sure that it's up to date.
And I'm glad that that's part of the process. You mentioned a yearly checkup with the dog. Is that all we need? When should we be taking our pet to the vet?
Well, you should be taking them to the vet absolutely minimum once a year for their vaccination and their annual checkup. And an annual checkup will include obviously having the discussion with how it's going. Have you noticed any changes in your pet over the last year? That type of thing with your vet. But it also includes weighing your animal. Has there been excessive weight gain? Has there been excessive weight loss in the last year that we need to be concerned about? They check their teeth to make sure that we don't have a buildup of tartar. Dentals are required sometimes annually. So it depends really on the dog. But dental health has a huge impact on the health of the animals. It can affect their hearts and their kidneys if they've got really bad teeth. So dentals are often advised if they're getting to the point of it becoming a problem. And then obviously if your cat is elderly, it may need to have some bloods taken just to check on some certain organs and check that the functioning is correct. So ultimately, those would be the basic minimums that you would need to visit your vet with. Then you obviously have the responsibility, if your animal is not well, also to be taken into the vet. And this, I mean, unwell, you know, the more you know your animals, the quicker you'll pick up on this. Sure. Any vomiting, diarrhea. Cats are particularly difficult because they'll often go and hide their ailments.
They're aloof, yeah.
Yes. But if they're hiding like more than usual or just showing abnormal behaviour, obviously limping, swellings, anything like that is a cause to take your pet to the vet. And just a note on the importance of pet medical aid. In the event that you need it, the last thing that you want to be concerned about is how much the vet's going to cost.
Yeah, until you have to lay out 40 grand for a back operation on a dachshund. It gets real very quickly. I think all of this says to me that you need to build a good and healthy relationship with the professional partner at your side, your vet. Debbie, thank you so much. I've got so many questions. I'm glad we've got weeks to be delving into all of these topics. So many points of interest here. But once again, thank you so much for your investment in this process and all of our pets. We love you for that. Thank you so much. I need to now ask you to do two things, guys. Number one, go home and give your pet a big squeeze right now and share that love, because that's the best part about having them in your home. And if you haven't got it marked down on your calendar already, number two, remember to take your pet to the vet for that checkup. A healthy animal is a happy animal, and that's what we want. And they bring so much joy and love to our lives. Let's reciprocate that and make sure that they're in the best shape possible.
Royal CANIN, making a better world for pets through precise and tailored health through nutrition.